Let's go ahead and get started. So this is called Getting Ready for 2014, the Online Marketing Preparation Checklist. And this was one of those that was tough for us to decide how are we going to squeeze this in under an hour. Here at Forward Progress, we do what we call a rapid launch plan with a lot of our clients, and this allows them to be prepared for a new marketing launch, for a new product launch, services. People use it to rebrand and relaunch their company. And we also use it for this time of year when a lot of our clients, a lot of our corporate clients and small business clients want to get together and say, hey, listen, how do we revamp and take a look at what's working, what's not working, and how do we prepare for the new year? So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. My name is DeLisle, founder and CEO of Forward Progress, and we have a lot of people on today from over 9 countries, it looks like, if I read the registration correctly. And we have coached and trained over 85,000 people on social network, online skills, things just like this all over the world. And we do a lot of it through the internet, and a lot of it we do in workshops and training classes and conferences, and so we get to see a lot of and we get a lot of input from our students and our clients as well as the audiences that we're in front of about what's working and what's not working, and that's what we want to share with you today. And then again, we want you to be prepared for the new year, and we work in a variety of industries. And what's sort of cool is we get to see what's working in B2B, B2C. We get to see what's working in services and product-based industries, online products, traditional products. So it's very cool for us to have access to all that data and all that information. Now I want to thank the Worldwide Association of Business Coaches, WABC, for sponsoring this and allowing us to bring this to you. So they help support us in terms of bringing all this data together. And we want to just encourage you to check out their website, wabccoaches.com. so that you can see exactly if you're looking for a coaching certification, you're looking for additional training just like this. They have a whole host of programs that you can be involved with. So very cool stuff. All right, now what we want is we want to make sure that you engage. We're going to cover a lot of stuff, so make sure that you have note-taking material, and yes, we are recording, and you'll get access to the slides, but there's going to be things that pop into your head as we cover this, and we want to make sure that we support you in moving forward to success for the new year. So please look around and make sure that you have, even if it's Post-its and a pen, just find something where you can get those next action items ready, okay? And then try to suppress all your distractions. I'm putting my do not disturb on as we speak, and then let's move forward. So in order to communicate with us, like I said, we have about 9 different countries on with us today. So welcome from Chicago. It's chilly here. It's about 0 degrees, and I just want to give a hearty welcome to everybody around the world. And so in order to communicate with us, we have you on mute so that we can get a good recording. So we want to make sure that you can communicate. So if you could just type into the questions area, let us know where you're checking in from, because like I said, we have a lot of countries on with us today. We have Sam, who just checked in from Chicago. We have Kathy, who checked in from Seattle. We have Karen from Argentina, Gary from Chicago, Howard from Atlanta, Georgia. We have Doug in Denver. We have Maggie in Milwaukee, Howard, I mentioned, in Atlanta. We have Jane in Brampton. We have John in Chicago. We have Ken in England. Welcome. Gloria in Wheaton. We have Spencer in Canada. Welcome. Looks like we have Switzerland checking in with us today. Good, thank you. Well, listen, I just want to welcome everybody today. And so, being a global webinar, these patterns and this checklist that we're going to go through with you are one of those things where you need to stop, and sometimes it's once a quarter because online changes so much. We want to make sure that you have everything that you need to make the next choices, and some of these things, we don't want you to get overwhelmed. We're going to show you a lot of things in the checklist, and we just want you to sort of be with us in this and sort of look at things and reflect on, maybe you don't do everything in the checklist, but what's the next thing that you do in the checklist. Okay, so now when we look at this, and again, we'll send you this, but it's the online marketing prep checklist. Okay, so when we look, we want to make sure we define our goals and objectives. So maybe in the beginning of the year, you started off looking at corporate accounts and you wound up finding that you were a niche for small business owners, or maybe you were looking at a certain industry and now the market has changed and you're looking for a new industry. Well, one of the things that you want to do is you want to define your goals and objectives for the business as well as for the individuals that are helping to support those goals for the business. So the first thing on your checklist is just look at your goals and objectives. Okay, make sure that they're clear. We also want to make sure that you understand what you're going to measure so that you can get to those goals and objectives. And sometimes, depending on the size of the company, we'll break this out from a marketing perspective, right, and on a sales perspective. So for marketing, a lot of times we'll measure leads, right? And sometimes we'll measure clicks and we'll measure traffic coming to the website, right? And we'll measure if people stay or they leave and how much time they spend there. If you're not measuring anything, right, just measure general visits, right? And conversions, right? So keep it simple at first. And then once you get to a little larger budgets and a little larger spend, you start to determine other factors that can help with those conversions and help with those visits and those clicks that happen, right? And some of you measure registrations, you're event driven, right? So you measure those types of things. In marketing, we measure friends and connections and people in followers and people in social networks. So you have to look at what this means for you as supporting those business goals and objectives. And then on sales, you know, we have people that are, you know, sending emails and dials. You know, the old term in sales used to be, how many dials did you make, right? And a lot of us would do our cold calling and send that out. I remember when I was first starting my coaching practice, this was about 10 years ago, and with WABC, and I was with a group with Tim Orsini here out of Chicago, and we were talking about, man, you know what, a lot of us had a business development background, and I'm like, well, we got to make sure we have enough meetings and appointments and dials, you know, because we didn't have social media at the time. We had some emailing, but it was more, you know, just about getting on the phone and getting through the list. And now we have all kinds of variety. We have social network connections and appointments, and a lot of you have been part of our, you know, LinkedIn business development training. That's changed the dynamic. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we measure that so that we know that we're moving along. So with goals and objectives, it looks a little bit different, but make sure you have them in order. And again, you don't have to do all these. You know, start somewhere. And if you're doing some of them, now what's the next thing you can measure? Okay, again, don't get overwhelmed. Just go to that next step. So for the business, you know, we want to look at business objectives, right? So you want to look at, you know, what's the increase over last year? What are you looking for, right? You're looking for 20% growth. You're looking for 2,000 a week, 2,000 a month from this time last year. You know, what are you looking at in terms of that increase? Because we want you to be in a growth mindset and take it to that level. What are your primary products or services? So sometimes you get caught up like we do here. We have internet products and we have two divisions, right? We have coaching and training so that we deliver things just like we're doing now, right? And we have students and we have subscribers in our coaching and training products and things like that, right? So we have people that subscribe or that come to buy certain classes and workshops. And then we have another team that is more tactical, strategic marketing and marketing services, right? And we have primary products there. And that has changed from where we were 6 months ago and a year ago. Now, we've always delivered our rapid launch plan. We've always delivered the things of what we're telling you, you know, here. But because of the changing landscape of social media, of the way people are receiving social media, you know, we had to change some of that up. So what does that look like for you for 2014? What's your primary product or service? Actually, type that into the questions area. I want to know what your number one highest margin, you make your most money off of it and it's the best thing you're at. What is the number one thing? And I know some of you have 20 things that you deliver, some of you have 2 things you deliver, but give me the number one thing in the questions area. So I have life insurance, 5-bedroom house in Mountain View. That actually sounds pretty cool. Consulting. And then you might even get more specific, right, Doug? So think about refining it. But what's your number one thing? Type that into the questions area. I want to get some more of these because we have a good big. So designing quality assurance programs for contact centers. That's specific. Nice job, Jane. Divine business experiment. Building energy management systems. Storytelling programs. Right, so you can see that we have a lot of variety here. So project management consulting, leadership development, right, decision-making SaaS software, right? So great stuff. So this is your primary thing, and so you can start there, and then how is that going to grow over what we did last year? And then what you want to do is you want to map it out month by month. And again, we can't deep dive in here because we're getting through your checklist, but just make sure you carve out time to define this, right? And you take it to that next level. And then what support is required? I'm a big fan of leverage. So whether it's hiring support or it's partnering on support, you have to look at what that looks like. And then to me, it always feels like it needs to be purpose-driven. Why are we working this hard, right? Why are we driving ourselves so hard, and why are we driving for that business growth? And you have to put some purpose behind it. So I just drafted one today that was just like, we're going to increase our profits by 20% this year, right? And that has some bottom line and some top side, definitions to it, right? With the first quarter growing by 8% over last year at this time, right? This will allow us to develop the infrastructure required to support our clients and reward our employees, right? Because I want to help support our staff by helping them earn more, as everybody that's on the support staff right now is cheering, that's listening in, and also, to provide better support and tools and things to our clients, right, without charging them more or costing us more. So there's a bigger picture here too, and so you need to look at that for your business and define that. Okay. So everybody cool with that? Give me a yes if you're okay for objectives for the business. And again, there's some to-dos coming out of this, right? It isn't just like a webinar and I'm ready for 2014. You need to prepare, okay? I mean, we do full-day boot camps with some of our clients where we go in and rock and roll on this, right? Cool. All right. Now, as individuals within the team, right? As individuals within the team, or maybe the team members, you also have to define what does that look like for you in terms of your business objectives. How many appointments, how many proposals, how many sales. So make sure, depending those of you, and sometimes it's the same hat, right? We have those objectives for the business, and then we still have to I still do appointments and proposals and sales, okay, as well as our team here does that as well. So we have to define what that looks like, right? And then you also now have to look at budget. Right? So now, we're talking about our marketing checklist, and if you're going to venture into online marketing, which a lot of you are doing, you have to look at what your budget looks like, right, for the new year. So what is your current client acquisition cost? What does it take, if your average client is 2,000 or 20,000 or what it looks like, what are you willing to pay to get that client? Right? What is your client acquisition cost? And is that really your ideal, or is it just your current? What are you gunning for? So if you're looking for more profitability, you might want to look at spending less to get the same client, or getting a different client, right? Or a different approach to get that client. So again, I don't want to get too deep on this, but I want to give you some things to think about and some questions to ask yourself and your team as you're preparing, okay? And then on a marketing side, right? Because I know some of you are services and some of you are services and products, but you want, as you're generating leads online, and this could be leads for events, this could be leads for registration on your website, but whatever that looks like, you have to break down to what is your current cost per lead, and then what is your ideal cost per lead. Steve, I noticed number 4 has a typo. 10 push-ups, okay? All right, so now we look at your ideal cost per lead and your current cost per lead, Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. So now we have, like, you know, if we need 20 leads to get 8 appointments, to get 4 proposals, to get 1 sale, now we start to have a formula so that we can determine how to budget. And then when we're talking, you know, when we're looking at you know, online marketing, we're looking at pay-per-click, we're looking at ads. Now we can say, okay, well, if I can get 20 of these, I know that that's within my budget to make the marketing make sense. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody's on task for that. So just so I can get a pulse of where everybody's at, I'm going to put a poll up on the screen. And again, if you lose our screen, click on the flower, and that'll put you back on our screen. But I want to know, you know, just sort of from a timing perspective, do you already have your marketing budget set for 2014? Right, so I just want to, and again, this is a blind test here where I'm just going to have you click on this, and then I'm going to share with this just so you can see that you know, an idea, like, you know, do you have $500 a month, $5,000 a month, you know, $50,000 a month, but I don't care what the amount is. I just want to know if you have a number in mind, and even if it's just through the first quarter, at least you know what you're spending, right? And you guys are on fire because I have almost 80% of you in 30 seconds. So that's cool for going all the way around the world. So here's our global response right now, right? So 19% is yes, 81% no. So you're not alone if you haven't done it, but make that a 12/31 goal, right? That you're going to have your budget set aside and you're going to understand what you're willing to pay for that client or that customer acquisition and the leads that are going to drive that customer to conversion. Cool? All right, so that's sort of the goals and objectives. Then we have trusted agents. And Stephen, you're going to have to keep me on pace here because I've got a lot to cover, but I want to make sure I get deep enough on each one of these items. So we could literally do a whole hour minimum, folks, on each one of these. So that's why I'm pacing it along, but I want to make sure everybody walks away with some value out of this checklist. So trusted agents are what we call your support network. So when we sit down and map out a business, we're looking at everybody that's in the network, right? So this looks like for trusted agents for a company, this could look like your partners. Some of you have partner programs, referral partner programs. Some of you, you know, look at your clients, right? That's part of your network for the business. These are people that we trust, and sometimes you partner with people, you know, clients and things like that. We do that as well. Sometimes, you know, you belong to certain associations, and you could look at your sales team, right, your marketing team, customer service team. So some people break out, we say break out your internal, you know, support teams, and then break out your external support teams. So write that down, right? So these are your trusted agents. These are people you can count on to partner with in certain things. Okay, and again, just giving you some ideas here. So take an inventory of what that looks like, right? And a lot of times the business has a network, right? And the individuals have a network. So for instance, Forward Progress has a network of subscribers, of students and clients. We have we have a referral agent program. We have an affiliate program. So those are people that we partner up with. We have associations that we work with. Okay, so now when we look at that, we start mapping out and saying, how can we accomplish things with less effort, working in partnership, you know, this year, you know, based on our objectives and our goals, and based on what we're doing, how can we leverage our partners to do this with less effort and create some deeper partnership and some better results. And sometimes we can do that without costing any more money, right? So take a good inventory of your partnerships, both at the business level, and I see I have some of our Social Jack students on. So Social Jack is our program about teaching you how to build a highly a high referral-based network. Okay, I just want to keep it simple. So I want to make sure that you guys are mapping out that network at the business level, as well as each and every one of you know how you're going to reach your success this year. As long as I just want to make sure I have everybody on track, and you know your assignment off of this, but just give me a yes or say, I'm lost, I'm not sure, I want to know. So give me that in the questions area. Just say, got it? Yes. I knew my Social Jack students would be first in there, so let's get a global response. Everybody good? Good. So you're going to inventory the business network and all the team. You know, think of it like your team, right? And then look at it from each individual within that team, and now you have one heck of a powerful network. Okay? Good. Now, let's look at the target. Now, our target changed a little bit this year, right? So we had a shift in target, and we've got our annual powwow coming up here in less than, I think it's less than 10 days, where we're going to get through and we're going to just re-clarify that target. Okay, and we're going to get it down to, you know, you get it down to industry and psychographics and demographics and all that stuff. But we want to make sure you identify what does that look like. So you can ask some clarifying questions, right? Yes, so as a one-person biz, it's clients and associations. Good call, Louis. Okay, so who's your customer and target partner? And think about that ideal objective. So if you're trying to grow your business and maybe your primary product has changed, your primary deliverable has changed, or maybe you repackage the way that you put things out there, right? I know some of you for a fact have done that, just as I'm looking down the list. So what does your customer or partner look like, right? Are they in a certain location, right? What industry are they in? What size company do they work for? Right? And maybe who do they know? What does their network look like? Maybe you can connect to certain, what we call hubs or groups that can actually help you get to that targeted partner. So write that down, right? So make sure you can clearly articulate. So if I ask Jimmy, or I ask, Lisa, or I ask Rich, or I ask Claudia, what is your ideal customer look like? What does the perfect partnership look like for you? What can you identify that person and clearly articulate that to me? So go ahead, type that into the questions area. Those of you that have it down, and those of you that don't, just say, it's on my list, I'm working on it, just so that we're with you and we know what you need to work on. So just in the questions area, connect with us and let us know where you're at. So if you know that ideal target, I just want to know. And then if you're still working on it, here we go. They're coming in now. So we have 4 ideal targets. We have building owners and managers. Some are still working on it. Yeah, right. Large companies with 100 to 20,000 salespeople. Good. I love it. Jimmy, we have to get back together. That's our target too. Companies that have 20 to 100 people engaged in customer service or sales. Jane, sounds like you and Jimmy need to get together. You guys could probably be in partnership there. We'll have to mark that, Stephen. Maybe we can hook those two together. Plastic molders, funeral homes, IT consultants, top execs at companies with 500 employees or more. And Sam wants to know, and Sam wants to network Stephen with the person looking for building manager contacts. Right. See, there you go. See, we're networking here. So as long as you can clearly articulate that, just like we just did, Sam, IT departments in Colorado with 50 to 200 employees. So Doug and Sam should probably get together as well, Stephen. So make sure you're tracking this, Stephen. So just like we're doing in this moment, you need to have that so that when you go into an event, let's say you're at a holiday party, and all of a sudden you're talking and you hear somebody say, hey, listen, I am, that you hear IT consultants, or you hear, building manager contacts. You hear that trigger, and now all of a sudden you're like, bam, that's me. I need to be in that conversation, right? Just like we just did. Well, this happens online too. So this happens when we're advertising. We're running pay-per-click campaigns, and you tell us that target. We're following conversations of those targets, right? Here's a specific one. Global and regional petrochemical companies who want to grow in the Middle East, in Middle East Africa, usually VP plus level. That is specific, man. So it's like, if you're doing pay-per-click or advertising, or you're doing what we call network diving in LinkedIn, or you're building a network, now you know who to put in there, and now you're looking for associations and groups that have that. So make sure you mark this on your list. If you're specific, awesome. If you need to take another look at that, please don't start the new year without this. Don't start your week without this. Okay, everybody with me so far? We still got a little bit of the list to cover. Okay, choose a destination. Now we build a ton of websites. We build landing pages, and we have a lot of successful campaigns that run. They don't always start there. There's some testing and things. So what happens with an organization is a lot of times people choose certain types of websites, right? And we build a website, and then all of a sudden, they're just like I mentioned before, new products, new offerings. They want to test it. Well, you don't build a whole new website to do that. You can build landing pages and microsites. So I want to take you through some specific examples. Okay? So first and foremost, I want to know, I say choose the new business destination. If you had one place that you would send people, would it be to right now, if like wherever your highest margin is, would you send them to a landing page, a website? Are you registering for an event? Do you do event registration? Is it the phone? Is it webinar? What is it? What is yours, right? So I'm going to put up a poll here. I just want to know where you're driving people. What is your primary destination for new business? Okay. So now all of a sudden, is it a landing page? Is it a website? Is it some form of a registration for something? Is it the phone? And just one. I know you have multiple. We do too. But like if you could bet, on one single destination. What's your primary destination? And Stephen, we should have put location on here. Some people, I'm not sure of this group, but a lot of people are driving people to the door. So let's make a note to replace that for the next class. Okay, good. All right, so that is in. So I just want you to see how your compadres on this class. So let's go ahead. We have almost everybody in. Give you a few seconds to click here. Click on the flower if you lose our screen in case you want to get in on this poll. And in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's just share that. So there you see 12% of you are driving to a landing page, 48% registration, website, 48% still at the website, 28% to the phone. I love that. I used to build call centers, so I still have a little soft spot for the phone. And 12% webinar and event. There you go. Okay, good stuff. All right, so now when we look at this, let's talk about effective and ineffective, right? So when we think of landing page, a lot of people think of a website. And what we see is a classic mistake is they see, based on consumer experience, they're like, well, I want to be like Best Buy. I want to be like, because they see the name all over and they get to the website. But there's just way too much going on in a website like this. And this is where we have to get a little more focused or direct. And you want to look at the visitor, who's arriving to the website and what do they want? Because on the internet, what we are is we are serving up an answer for somebody. Right? That's really what we're doing. We're representing, the same us that used to stand at a trade show booth, and some of us still do, standing at the table at the chamber event, but somebody's walking up to us with a question about what we do, whether they're driven there or they find us on the internet or they've clicked on something, they've started a conversation and they're asking. Just like we did on, here in the States, we just had the holidays after Thanksgiving, crazy shopping holiday. We were studying all the different conversations on B2B and B2C in terms of how people were converting, what questions were they asking, what were they looking for, right? And we had a lot of our B2B clients, and it's just crazy how people start this conversation but they don't continue. So you want to make it very clear, right, whether it's a landing page or a website, of exactly having the answer based on the question. Now what's cool is you might have pages that are sub-pages in your website that you can send people to. That's good, and sometimes that's a challenge because when they go there, they'll see a whole bunch of other stuff and they'll start clicking, they'll get lost, and they'll leave. So rather than getting into that sub-page, sometimes it pays to have a very specific landing pages. Now these landing pages can live on your website, they can live separately from your website, they can live inside Facebook. There's all kinds of places you can have landing pages exist. They can exist on your phone. Right? So on mobile search, you can have certain landing pages that way. So it really all depends on your product or your service or your offering, right? We have some event folks on with us today. So there's also something called a microsite, right? So in a microsite, this is a website that appears to be like a website, okay? It's a smaller website, but the intent is to have a very specific outcome. So like on our LinkedInOnDemand.com, you guys are welcome to look around that site. When you go there, it has About Us, and it does link back to Forward Progress. It has free tools, right, for the people that aren't ready to pay anything right now. It has a premium course library in there because a lot of times we'll tell people go and sign up for the premium courses or check out the premium courses. It has an affiliate program and Start Now, but everything drives back to the same product, the same service that they're buying at this point, right? And so there's a lot of Start Now. There's Start Now, and then when you go down here and you want to build connections, you can Start Now. Peak engagement, Start Now. So depending on increasing sales, Start Now. Depending on the conversation that's going on in their head or that they're talking about or they want to have, they still wind up at Start Now. When they're ready, they Start Now. They can see that they can belong. There's a members login, right? They can ask questions. So if they have questions beyond this, they can ask questions. And I didn't show it on here, but we have a chat set up on here too that is basically where you can chat with somebody online. And this is just a microsite, right? We still have our main Forward Progress website, but this is a microsite. So this is LinkedInOnDemand.com. So that way, you know, if you guys want to check out the one I'm referring to, somebody was just asking for the link. LinkedInOnDemand.com. Okay, but you can sort of see the flavor and how that works, and we're always continuously testing too, and then we're testing on how we drive people. So we'll have very specific webinars that'll say go to LinkedInOnDemand.com, and then we'll have affiliates that have specific things, and they'll say go to LinkedIn on Demand. You know, they have their way of driving people to it, right? And then in some cases, you know, we will promote it in different ways with coupon codes and things like that. Okay, but that's where you can have a microsite and you don't have to change your entire scope of doing business. Okay, so very, very cool. All right, so let's keep moving. Any questions on microsites, landing pages? Now a landing page would be very specific where it just has one thing. You can't go anywhere else. You know, this one you can click around a little bit, and that's why we call it a microsite. It has 5 or 6 pages, usually under 7 pages, okay? But it never leaves the topic. The topic never changes, right? Single focus topic. In a landing page, very specific. You can't get off that page. You're either going to come there and you're going to buy, or you're going to download, or you're going to update, or you're going to calculate, or you're going to do something. Okay, and those are typically the ones that you see, you know, that exist, or you're going to register for a contest or whatever it is, but those are the ones that live inside Facebook, or they live in their own entity, separate from the business. Okay, so no questions on that, right? And I do have some comments. Stephen, you're on the you're on here, right? Mike's asking a question, so I want to make sure you're on this. Okay. Next is make sure you respond to Mike, please. Okay. Okay, so now when we look at the next step, this is probably the biggest one, okay? Now when we look at define inventory, inventory is a big, big, big piece. It's a big chunk, okay? So don't get overwhelmed when you look at the screen. You're going to have access to the slides. Pick just one thing that you're going to do, movement that you're going to do in this area. Okay, when we look at, we break it down into 3 sections. We look at data, content, and delivery, right? Which delivery in a lot of cases is, how we're going to deliver it. But data is how do we organize our data, okay? We have current prospects and clients, right? How do you organize your data? Emails, right? You have mobile phone contacts and other contacts. Actually, I'm going to ask a polling question here. I'm fascinated by the movement. We had a huge business. We had a primary business in the CRM space. And I want to know, I'm always curious how people are organizing their emails. So I have a poll that just popped up on your screen, right? And just give me a quick click, right? How are you organizing your emails today? And just sort of curious here. Now, the difference between a CRM and an email system is it's a customer relationship management system like Salesforce. Some people still have spreadsheets. Some people are online databases, which are typically within a website membership system. When we think of online databases, it's not a CRM system. It's not, it's not a whole entity-based system. It's usually, hidden behind a website somewhere, like, in a WordPress site or in a content management site, and it's just a list of names and it's in an online database. Some people do it in Outlook, right, in their email system. Some people actually use mobile. Okay, so just think about that, and if 2014 you need to do that, write that down as, hey, listen, I need to look at how I'm organizing this, okay? It's just, maybe it's not efficient. Okay, cool. All right, so there you go, and I'm just going to share this so you can see where everybody else is at. All of our 9 countries, most everybody responded here, and this is where they came in. I'm glad to see none of you clicked mobile, by the way. I put mobile in there because we saw a trend of people with mobile apps and things like that. They started allowing all of their content to start to live in the cloud and mobile, and Apple started a big thing on this, and so we always encourage you to back it up somewhere else or store it somewhere else. So please write down backup. Okay, I know this isn't a thing on data, but everybody, please, if you don't know the last time your database was backed up or your content, write down backup plan, okay? So I know this isn't about that, but I want to make sure you guys are protected. We just had somebody yesterday that told us that they paid $2,000 for data recovery for their system because it wasn't backed up. Right? There's all kinds of backup options. So just make sure you guys are backing up your emails and your contacts, and then think about how you organize those. How do you communicate? Do you communicate differently with prospects and clients? With partners differently? So you should have ways to segment your database. And again, I could spend a whole day on this topic, but we're not gonna. But if you need a data plan or storage plan, just write down, I need a better way to organize these things. Now, you also want to look at new data, because some of you have new targets. Where are you going for the data? Is it D&B, Info USA? Is it some other third-party source? Are there campaigns to generate new data? Are you going to joint venture or partner to get that new data? Okay, Jackie mentioned AWeber. They're another online source as well. So you start looking at this. What does 2014 look like? How are you going to get new people? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to partner to get it? Or are you going to market to get it? Right? But your database is one of those things that you should be measuring every week. I have 10 new connections. I have 20 new connections. I have 200 new connections, right? Because of this webinar, we have over 180 new connections, right? And some old connections too. So we want to welcome the new people as well as the existing people. But think about what that looks like for you. What does your 2014 look like, right? For data. Okay, everybody good on data? Any specific data questions popping into your head and things like that? And we'll try to stick around if we can at the end to help you with specific questions. We'll go as long as we can on this because I know this is important to a lot of you. Okay. Good. So now we have content, right? What does content look like? Content's all over the place. Have you built a website in the last year, last 2 years? Some of you said it's been 3 or 4 years. You still have content on your website. You have content in your social media sites. Some of you have domain names that you own that can be used, right? So we want to collect. This is the time of year where we want to inventory the useful stuff that we have. Do you have articles and PowerPoints, right? Videos and photos? Sales brochures, training materials. Now, we're not saying give away the farm here. We're talking about take part of a training manual or a slide deck or a PowerPoint slide deck, and that is phenomenal, phenomenal content, right? You could take a quick video with your iPhone or off of your computer. Great content. And then not to get too deep, but content needs to be associated with keywords. So I know we have enough webinars out there that get deep into keywords, but as you look at your target, as you've identified who you're going to do business with, you need to understand, remember those questions I said, everybody on the internet, whether you're going into pay-per-click advertising or organic search, they're asking for experts. They're asking, right? They're asking for you. They're asking for you based on what you do. Right, so the plastic molders, the funeral homes, companies that have, they're asking for you. How do you identify you in the way that they ask for it? Those are keywords, right? And then you want to watch and see how you're developing your content, the things like that. What can you use in that stack of content that you have? Okay, so the content is the stuff. And then we have delivery. How are you sending stuff out? Do you have an email marketing plan like Jackie mentioned, Weber? Your CRM, is it set up to send stuff out? Are you calling out, right? What's your delivery mechanism? Do you have newsletters, flyers, right? So what's 2014 look like? How are you going to best connect with that group? All right? And then now the new way for the new year, how are we going to look at that, right? Are we doing social media? Are we doing posts and tweets? Is that how we're going to deliver this great content to the data, right, and draw people back? Are we going to use newsletters to email out? Are we blogging, right, to send out and to get people to subscribe and draw them back to the destination? Are we using contests, right? Are we using mobile text? So think about the things that might make sense. Now pick one. So of any new delivery mechanism, what are you not doing that you'd like to do more of? So just type that into the questions area so that we can sort of get a feel for where you guys are trending, right? So if you're not doing, if you're not doing enough with sending things out through email, maybe that's something to look at as you organize that data. If you're not spending enough time on the phone, maybe you need to get back on the phone. If you need to get back into webinars just like this, right? Somebody just wrote down on-demand webinars, right? So what's the delivery that you're going to deliver your good stuff, information, and content to the world, right? Newsletter, we have newsletter coming in. We have contests coming in to be fun about it. Right. Alvaro said, I need to get back on the phone. Now you can be efficient at that, Alvaro. You can be efficient at having appointment setting. And I'm not sure if you've gone into our Social Jack system or taken our training class, but you can get into that point where you have efficient appointments and targeted appointments, because most of us are very busy, right? We need to be to the point where we're just talking to the best qualified people, because otherwise we have to talk to 10 people to get 2 good ones. Well, what if we just talk to 2 good ones instead of the 10 people, right? So think about what that looks like for you. Now, social media, we look at content. We said that's the stuff, right? This is the stuff that's all around our office. It's on our hard drives. It's on our thumb drives. It's in the cloud. It's on our phone under videos and photos. It's in webinar recordings. It's all over the place. Get it organized. Okay, sit down with your team, sit down with yourself, write that down, organize the content. Even if you think you're organized, it's amazing what you find on your hard drives, okay? You've developed stuff over the last 30 days. Okay, so just, make sure you organize that. There's probably press releases, articles, PowerPoint presentations, things you can use. And again, make it all relevant to the target that you're trying to attract. right? The business, business goals and objectives. And some of you are only a couple hours away from having a whole content farm. Okay, so that's the inventory. Doing okay so far? Next is to build and optimize. So Stephen, you have some questions coming in, so make sure we tee those up for the Q&A session, okay? Or if you can answer them directly, go ahead. So build and optimize, okay? So next is when we always go, well, what do we need to build? Now, you can get overwhelmed with this because there's like 1,100 popular social network sites. There's about 35 that we support, and there's about 8 primary, but it depends on your business. Where's your target at, right? So you should make sure that before you go into a social network that your target is somewhere in there. Now, in some cases, you can use this for search engine marketing. You notice I have search engine marketing. You shouldn't build anything without understanding search engine marketing, which gets you back into those keywords. So if you're building social media sites, blog sites, or even thinking about pay-per-click, right, that's an investment of dollars, you need to be thinking about how's that going to affect my Google ranking. Because remember, your target contacts are typing in every single moment of the day. They're typing in questions. You need to come up. Okay? So what does that look like? Where are people typing? Are they typing inside? Are they typing in? Are they typing inside LinkedIn? Are they typing inside Google? Are they typing inside Bing? Where's your target typing stuff into? Where are they typing those questions? Where are they looking for you at? And you can be connected by 2 things: your content and the people in your network. Write that down. That's what matters most for 2014, your content and the people in your network related to that target to get you to that outcome. Okay, it's that simple, and it's also that tough. Now, we look at Facebook, right? You look at fan engagement, you're attracting people, you're building community, so you have to have some value-based content, very short attention span like Twitter, right? You can promote things out into the network no matter what size your network is. I think you need 50 or more, right? And now there's all kinds of cool things, so make sure you watch for our Facebook class. There's new things that Facebook is changing, right, that makes it pretty cool. We also have Twitter, right, where you can get follower engagement and you get, where you can promote things there as well. You can pay to actually put posts on Facebook, put posts on Twitter, and now Pinterest in front of your target. You can pay to insert it in there, right? So forward progress, social media today, they can pay to put those promoted posts in Facebook and Twitter. LinkedIn, right, is great for search. All these are great for search engine marketing, as long as you design them with that targeted mind. And I always tell people, pretend like you're speaking to the target when you design these sites for yourself. Okay, and this is just to give you some ideas. So if you think any of these need improvement, just write them down so you don't forget them and take them one at a time. What we always say is if you're going to build for the new year, do your website first, then your LinkedIn profiles, and then the rest. And there's a ton we could show you. Google Plus is smoking hot right now, okay? LinkedIn is still white hot. Twitter's on the rise. They're not going away. So we want to get your content and everything linked to those. So build your website first. If you're in the process of rebuilding or building, build your website first. And then landing pages are very specific. Remember, your website's about your business. Then build your LinkedIn because it's the most detailed or most in-depth about your team members, about you and your team members. And then build the other ones because then you want to take that same content and your profile should be super easy to build. Or talk to us if you need some assistance with that, okay? YouTube, video. Right now, Vimeo, we use a lot of Vimeo, right? But Vimeo is more internally for our students, but YouTube is more public, right? For the public to get a sense for what you do. And this is where you can put keywords and all kinds of good content behind there. Okay, so look at what this looks like for you. Are you guys doing video yet? Tell me if you're doing video. I just want to see real quick. Just type in a yes if you guys are doing video in the questions area. I'm always curious of the trend of how many people are doing. Cool. Yeah, it's so easy to do now. Just play with it, you know. And, you know, if you guys are in our Social Jack, you know, we have our weekly coaching sessions. You guys can come in and just talk to us. We cover video all the time, and then we tell you how to optimize it and leverage it, okay? Super. Now, if you guys are doing, yeah, Google Hangouts are hot too. I love those. Actually, we have a Google class coming up right after the first of the year, Jackie, so watch out for that. Okay, so Slideshare is one of these sleepers, okay, for search engine marketing. If you have slides or PowerPoints, make sure you look at Slideshare. In fact, we're going to send you a link to ours, and then that'll give you some ideas. But again, you can link it to your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Google+, and all this content. You can do documents, infographics. I wouldn't mess around. I'd hang with YouTube on the videos, but you can do slides and slide-casts. So even if you want to record your voice over a slide deck and you don't have sophisticated equipment, bam, you can do it right inside here, and it's owned by LinkedIn. So just think how favorable it works with your LinkedIn profiles, okay? Now blog, I'm curious, I'm going to launch a survey here. So blogging is one of those things that's on a huge rise right now. So if you're currently blogging, just say yes, personal, business, just select one, right? Both. Not yet, but would like to and not interested. Okay, this is on a poll, Jackie, so I'd like to include you on that poll. So we have a global poll going on, so we want to share those results with you, just so you can see what everybody's doing. So now when we look at blogging, you know, blogging is a very personal thing. We track a lot of personal blogs as well as business blogs, and this is one of those cool things where you can really just get your voice out there on the internet. And Lewis has 3 blogs. You're busy or you write really fast. Oh, that's Lewis, I'm sorry. But that's like, wow, 3 blogs. I can barely keep up with our one. All right. So anyway, this just gives you a sense for that. So anyway, here, I'll share this. Everybody's asking, who's doing blogging? So here's the audience here today. Right, we have 4% yes personal, 27% business, and 12% both. And the reason the both is key, because if you are personally blogging and you're connecting with others on a personal level with blogging, your business blogging is going to get that much better. Right, your conversation, because blogs aren't just about being tactical and being very specific. It's about being social. Right, it's a conversation. Right, so think about how the conversation looks, and if you can be more conversational, you're going to attract a better response. Right? So think about what this looks like for 2014. And then you want to integrate this together. That means you want to get the website working with the blog, right? And you want to get the blog working with everything else so that you get to the top of Google. And I know I'm running a little behind here, but I wanted to make sure I gave you guys as much as I could on the checklist. Now, pay-per-click is one of those things that we just had a big session on last week. So if you need that session, right, Stephen will actually go to our website at forwardprogress.net, and our latest blog post has the search engine marketing session, which will talk more in depth about pay-per-click versus organic. But if you think you need to do it again on your marketing plan, remember we're talking about the checklist. This is how you're going to drive new business. Write that down. Okay, and all it means is you're going to pay to go to the top instead of get to the top here in the middle like Forbes is doing with, so in social media marketing strategy, right, we've got people that are paying to be at the top and on these ads over here, and then we have organic, right? So based on the content, people are driving themselves to the top. People with bigger checkbooks are just putting ads up at the top, right? So think about your website. What does it look like for 2014? Right? What do you need it to look like to get that business? Oops, sorry. I was still showing the polling results. There you go. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so here's the pay-per-click slide. I apologize for that. Okay. And then, so for 2014, what do you need the website to look like? What do you need the landing page and the microsite to look like? right, if you're going to do that. So you see we have the website here, and then you can see the LinkedIn landing page. Very similar branding. It's just a microsite. Okay, and are you going mobile? Make sure if you're doing any new sites, you have mobile access. Okay, make sure they're all mobile compatible. So whether it's your website, whether it's your, whether it's your other programs, make sure they're compatible. Okay. And then those of you that are doing events, right, you have sort of an extra agenda, right? You have to think about how you're going to incorporate all this into your event marketing, right? So you would have an event marketing checklist or an event marketing plan. And then what we always encourage you to do is test, right? Then you execute, then you measure, make adjustments, and repeat. Right? And then anytime you're going to look at, if you can't hire us to help you out, or you're looking at launching a new product, a new business, a new service, going into a new territory, a new industry, you can use this checklist, right, to actually set yourself up to go there. Because not everybody's in a position, right, to get that additional support. But you can always come back and listen to this webinar, and we're hoping that you find enough value in this. Now, some of you, need that extra, well, before you do this, make sure that you're measuring, okay? I put that at the beginning, but I want to make sure you guys are measuring. So here's just a sample measurement, sort of measurement worksheet, if you will. Okay, so with that being said, and we want to make sure that you repeat that success, we want to understand if you guys need some additional help. Right, so I'm going to put a little blog up here. Now, again, some of you just want more training and coaching and classes, and you're on your own on this. Some of you need websites, landing pages, and things like that. Usually budget $900 and up, whether it's us or somebody else. Right? Make sure you budget that. You don't want to go for some of these low-cost websites because that means they're not optimized. So we're not hurt if you don't go with us. We just want to make sure you're doing this the right way, okay? Search engine marketing services, you're looking at, a minimum of $500 a month, and then for paid, minimum of $500 a month. Or be careful of some of these lower cost paid services because, you're paying to be, put into a pool sometimes, and you're not going to get those targeted leads. So make sure you just check out, what you're looking at, and then it's the right thing for you, okay? But budget at least $500 and up, so those are higher end budgets. So if you need any of these, right, and we don't want to, call everybody or anything like that. We just want to know. We're going to put a poll up, and if you need help with a website, landing page, search engine marketing services, maybe more coaching and training, maybe you want to do paid advertising, things like that. Just check the box that's most appropriate. Now there's some questions. Stephen, can you bring back some of the questions for me so I can answer some of these questions? And again, I want to thank the Worldwide Association of Business Coaches for sponsoring this for us. It's been helpful. Do you have any stats in terms of how new delivery delivers leads to decide which is best? Which new delivery? So Jane, it depends on the business, right? It depends on the target. So think about for instance, maybe even Jane, maybe if you want to give me some more specifics on that, because if I can understand your target and who you're going after, I can give you a little more specifics on delivery or some more ideas on delivery. So Stephen, give me one or two other questions while we're waiting on that, because I want to help Jane out with this too. And those of you that have specific questions, okay, yes. So for 2014, when should we plan? I would say, yeah, so I think you should do it before 12/31. It depends on how your season kicks off. But man, when I get done with the holidays, I want to be ready to rock and roll, and I want to be ready to go. So I would say take it to that level. Let's see, we have more questions coming in. When building a new website, will it be automatically mobile phone compatible? Yes. Any of the websites that we do are all 100% mobile compatible. Now, they're not mobile apps. This is one of the things where people get confused, but it's mobile compatible. That means that when a mobile device goes to the site, well, it can be viewed just like the pictures that I showed you with our sites, absolutely. And ours are highly indexed with the search engines. Okay, that means that Google recognizes it, Bing recognizes it, you know, they all recognize the search engines. Let's see, I'll probably need more help with the budget. Is there any place to check some standard prices? Here's what I would do, Alvaro. I would go back, and please keep asking questions, folks. I know we're at the top of the hour, but I want to make sure everybody gets in on this. Or I just want to put our contact information up there. Somebody was asking for that, so there it is. With your budget, remember when I was talking at the beginning about your goals? And I was saying to attach your budget to your goals. So think about this. When you have, you know, if you know that your ideal prospect, or you're looking for 4 new deals a month, right? And your average deal is $2,500, and you're willing to spend $200, maybe even $100 to get those deals, your budget is $400. Okay, and then you need to determine what is your willingness to test. Now, some of you, you know, Alvaro, I don't know, you know, much about your business, but you may need a website, you may need some other investments up front, and then you're going to have to look at recouping that investment over a period of time. Right now, some of you are in a sales validation, you know, sort of what we call reputation. We didn't have enough time to work that in here, but you're in a situation where you go on high-level appointments and you need to validate your reputation, and that's why you build out good social networks, and that's why you build out, you know, good profiles and websites, right? Because you need that validation, because you're walking into large accounts, and you need to be able to show that you're actually, you know, that you're actually who you say you are. So you need to produce those blogs that are evidence of your of your expertise and things like that. Make sense? Good. All right, and I'm going to keep answering questions here for a few folks, because I know we have people that stayed up real late overseas, and I want to make sure I get everybody's questions answered as much as we can. So 2 different targets: C-suite for strategy and budget, middle management who have operational challenges, and resource poor, challenging demographics now. So Jane, you know, we have a couple different demographics too, right? So we have people that go to our socialjack.com, or they go to LinkedIn on Demand because they can't afford to hire our, you know, pay our coaching contracts or do full corporate training programs with us, right? So but yet what we do is we you know, we scale down some of the deliverables, and we scale down the manual labor and the effort that it takes to do that, and we figured out a way to talk to that or be with that, you know, target. So what you need to do is maybe have a plan of how you're going to approach both of those targets, right? So on your C-suite, right, 2 different targets. So your C-suite, right, for strategy and budget, to me, typically is that reputation factor where you maybe have some nice higher-end blogs, your profiles are professional, website looks good, and it's targeting that C-suite, right? And then you're saying you have middle management who have operational challenges that are resource poor. Now, if you're trying to pull that off with one website, that is a different discussion. So you can have, I don't have any quickly that I can pull up here, but you can have websites that say, you know, if you're a senior level executive, right, and you're looking for strategy and budget, you know, click here. You know, you can actually speak to the visitor, the person that's arriving, and that's sort of what we call a channeled website, where you're driving one person this way and another person that way. If you're in middle management and you have operational challenges and you're looking for resources, click here. You know, like you're actually answering the question based on who they are. Does that help? Good. All right, any other questions? You guys hung around late, so I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure that we had some, you know, everybody else's questions. So Stephen, are we good? All right. So is everybody ready for the new year? Give me a yes if everybody's ready. All right, good. And last but not least, all right, so everybody learned something new today? Good. So our information, a lot of people are asking for our information on the screen there. So if you want to get a hold of us, go to forwardprogress.net. If you want to email me, my email's up there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, if you want to go to our fan page at Forward Progress on Facebook, and then LinkedIn, it's if you just Google us at Forward Progress too, we come up #1 on Google. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'm glad to see that everybody hung in there, and we had a very good participation with questions. So we just want to thank everybody for your participation, and I think that's it. Stephen, are we good? Good stuff. All right, everybody. Well, listen. Have a great weekend. Let's see. I just want to make sure. Is there any other last-minute questions? I see a couple questions coming in. All right, everybody's good. All right, thanks, everybody. Well, with that being said, we're only 5 minutes over. We're going to wrap up this recording. We'll wrap up the slides. We'll make sure we get you to the Slideshare. Again, we want to thank the Worldwide Association of Business Coaches, and we will look forward to see everybody online. Take care, everybody.
The